live. All right, get my monitor working. We get Uncle Charlie is missing. He had an engagement tonight he had to go to, so he will not be here tonight. So it's just you and me, Kumu Kawaikapu Hewitt. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing really, really well, thank you. Considering everything that has happened in the last 2 weeks, I'm doing very, very well.
Well, we're gonna wait about a minute or so, get everybody on board, and then we'd love to have you share your little experience that you've had in the last what was that 13 days
Yep,
13
yep.
days. So we
It
got a
was
lot
a
of people excited to hear from you tonight. I got a lot of messages, so excited that you're
oh,
on. It's been a while. Yeah, it's been a while. It's Friday. It's the beginning of a long weekend. uh, so I'm sure there's a lot of people out camping and partying and doing whatever they do on long holiday weekends. So,
yeah.
but you
Well,
look
I've been
good.
busy
You
too,
look good.
busy teaching school. The semester is over. So I taught 18 credits this semester at Windward Community College. So the semester is winding down. Grades have all been submitted, and now I'm going into the summer session very shortly.
Oh my gosh. When are you gonna retire? When are you just gonna truly retire?
Mm, I don't see that in the near future. I really enjoy the responsibility of teaching and being able to enlighten minds into thinking and the processes, using common sense in making decisions, and how you found and ground those thought processes. So when you come into my class, it's not just about learning poetry. We're learning, the many aspects of poetry. We're talking about the spiritual aspect, yeah, the thought processes, the physical aspects. There's so many things, and that's what I like to do, is inspire people through those processes.
Well, you're an inspiration to many people, Kumu. And what? So you teach? What courses do you teach? You teaching poetry?
So at Windward Community College, I teach a course that is called Mele and
Wow.
Mo'olelo. So we study songs and we study the stories about those songs. Do they speak of place names? Do they speak of wind names? Do they speak of rain names? Do they reflect something that happened historically in the past? Kauna, the hidden meaning of a song, is very, very important, but mostly important to the composer. So we don't delve into the kauna because that is a kuleana of the composer, but we look for the stories, the histories, the legends that are attached to those songs. And then, of course, there's Olelo Hawaii, and then there is, of course, hula. So these are the courses I teach at Windward Community
Wow.
College.
I would love to be in your class, Kumu. It must be one heck of a class. I know, Kumu Lena Ala Paval Jardine, who just pretty much swept the Merry Monarch Festival from Kauai. She speaks of that, how she's not just teaching hula. She takes her students to the locations of the mele and they learn, and that's her instruction to her students, her halal when they perform, is to transfer that feeling uh, to the people that are watching. And they did a great job. I gotta say, they did a great job at the Merry Monarch.
Well,
They were awesome.
she's actually on the journey of Kumuhula, the journey of when there were no public schools, and the halau took responsibility for educating about everything there was to be known of Hawaii, as well as discipline. Values were taught, language was taught, history was taught, legends were taught. This was the responsibility of the Kumuhula. And recently, while doing research, I happened to come across several advertisements in the early 1900s and later about Kumu advertising saying, come and learn about the history of Hawaii. Come and learn about the language of Hawaii. Come and learn about the hula of Hawaii, which tells me then their kuleana was a great kuleana back then. They were and continue to be the leaders of our communities here in Hawaii.
Yeah, amazing stuff. Well, we're just about 2 minutes away from 7 o'clock, which is the witching hour. Me and Uncle Charlie usually just shoot the bull, which is what we're doing till we get our villagers on. Lots to talk about tonight. Uh, the first thing we wanted to cover tonight was again, how are you, Kumu? I'm not sure if you want to
So
share what you
let me, let me, let
experienced
me,
13 days ago.
just listen, and then maybe you'll get an idea of what happened.
Okay.
That's what happened. This 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 cough went on for 3 days, nonstop. All hours of the day, all hours of the night, gasping for air, trying to breathe through it all. On May 14th, I was exposed to COVID, and I didn't get the light COVID that people are talking about. I didn't get the mild COVID people are talking about. In fact, this is 12, 13 days after, and I still have headaches. Mine was the real mean one. And it was interesting because people kept saying when they found out I had COVID, oh, just go down to the beach and go sit in the sun and take a swim. Everybody had some kind of authoritative healing outcome that they wanted me to participate in. I couldn't even get off the damn bed. I couldn't even barely get from the bed to the bathroom, let alone the bed to the living room to sit down on an upright chair and hopefully get some sleep. 2 years I had been COVID free. 2 years. Even now as we speak, my head is it's been like this since May 14th. So I'm still kind of reeling from everything that took place. And yeah, COVID is real. You know, people say it's a flu. I did not have a flu like that before. Oh, it's a common cold. I did never, ever. I'm 60 years old. Come on. I've been through my share of flus and colds. This was something that was indeed different. It was totally different. It was hard. It was hard on my body at the point where I was convulsing in my bed. And amazingly, what they prescribed for me was azithromycin. And if I understand correctly, at the very beginning of COVID-19, azithromycin was the experimental drugs used to treat COVID. They not only prescribed for me azithromycin, and they also prescribed, of course, steroids so I could breathe. And all of this happening home, back there on that couch, and I'm isolating by myself. And this journey was really a hard journey. I'm glad I'm here today. I can sit and smile and chat with all of you. But what do? You're isolated, and I'm here by myself. And luckily, some of my students who found out that I was sick with COVID, they called Grubhub. On the third day, they couldn't do it first, second, or third day. I couldn't come down and get any food. But by the third day around, and kind of miraculously, right? So the first day, I'm sounding like this and worse. And then they give me the medicine. 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I remember this, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, on Tuesday, my daughter picks up the medicine and drops it off. And we got to hand them over, right? We got to hand over. We got to hand the patient because I don't like them get COVID, and they don't like get COVID, right? So I come up and I take my first dose PM. That night I went to bed, and first time since May 14, 15, 16, on May 17, was able to get some sleep finally. But I like to thank everybody and everybody who's watching this that had a hand in helping me in the recovery, because if not for the people that dropped off herbal teas and herbal medicine and food, it would have been harder. It really would have been harder. And this is what it's about here in Hawaii, the ohana, and then the community, and people reaching out to help one another in this time of COVID. 2 years went by, we still get COVID. 2 years went by, we still need our community. We still need our families, because I do not believe that this is over yet. Now, it's going to be a while. We're going to get to that place, of course, I believe that. But I don't think this is a time right here and right now. Yeah, I don't believe so.
Well, glad you're feeling better. I had no idea until we chatted yesterday. Um, I think you bring up a bunch of points. I think that would be nice to discuss. Number one, the medication that they gave you. I didn't think they were prescribing anything other than the Paxlovid and in some other cases, some other monoclonals, but they went right back to the beginning and prescribed you with
They did
that. Yeah, that was kind of interesting.
azithromycin. And,
Yeah,
the first thing they tell you is off-the-shelf medicine. At the same time, they're telling you to isolate. And if you don't want all the medicine at home, how are you going to get them, right? If you don't want somebody to drop them off, and I didn't have for the first 3 days. On my own, all I could do was boil ginger and squeeze lemon juice. And the most famous remedy for everything called lihi mui.
mhm.
I had lihi mui, and I made tea with the lihi mui. I would eat lihi mui. I would eat the lihi mui, the tea, until I got the medicine. So, first defense, you got Tylenol, ibuprofen, all of that. That's what they tell you to do. And then I was being monitored by the doctor. So these recordings you hear, I was sending to the doctor. And they were listening, because I was quarantined to this house. My test came back, COVID SARS. So then I thought, how did this happen? Too late for even think about that. Now I got to figure out, okay, what could happen next? But once you get that cough, and once you start gasping, yeah, that's when the hardship begins. So you got to sit up. You got to try sit up. And you're doing this on your own. And I did. And people may have different COVID experiences. And I'm happy that you had a mild one. I'm very, very happy. For those of you that have no symptoms, very happy for you. I had the headache, I had the body ache, I had the fever, I had the sore throat, I had the runny nose, I had the shakes, you name it, I had it. After 2 years of wearing the mask now, and the week I took off the mask, I got sick. What the hell?
Yeah. Well, there's some people out there that believe the masks don't work. Some people still believe that, and I get into debates with that all the time. But whatever. I mean, you believe what you want. All I know is when you look at the charts, when you look at the data, the scientific data of cases, the data no lie, right? As soon as you lift the mask mandates, the cases spike.
Yeah.
Not
And
just
at
this
the
time,
bottom,
every time.
the bottom line is everybody got a maka'alaya, use their own
That's
wisdom,
it.
knowledge, and be alert. Don't listen to what the other person say. You listen to yourself. You do
Mhm.
what's good for you and what's good for your family. Let them make their choices and don't bother them. Do what you gotta do to stay safe and to stay healthy. And that's all it is, because testimony right here, 2 years of wearing masks, 2 years, I never even catch a cold, never had a cough. I was feeling so good for 2 years. The week I took off the mask, there we go.
Yeah. And it's too bad there's still so many people that only think about themselves. So like I tell my friends and family, if you're going up to a gathering, you go into a facility, or if you go anywhere you go and you see somebody without a mask, go buy them. Just stay away from them. Keep your distance. You got to take care of yourself. Is exactly right. It's got to be a frightening disease, though. When you talk about, you're describing the symptoms that my daughter had. My daughter was alone. She lives alone in Oregon. Uh, so she had, she thank God for those businesses that deliver food. But she told me she was living in a little apartment. She would walk from her bed. She couldn't even get to the kitchen without feeling like she was going to pass out because she couldn't breathe. It's a scary disease, and it's a lonely disease because you're alone.
You know,
You're extremely. It's just scary.
when you start that coughing and your body just begins to convulse because you can't control it, and your feet go weak, yeah, that's when you know how lonely and how painful and how scary it can be. That's when you get
Wow.
it. And until you get to that point, you can talk all the shit you like. When you get to that point and it's you in the situation, then you know the truth. And there you go. Nothing more need be said. Everybody, enjoy your COVID experience.
you know, eh, Now more and more discussion is being had about the long COVID. Now that the studies are starting to come out, the published studies, the peer-reviewed studies, which is very clear now that even asymptomatic patients of COVID, survivors of COVID, they're finding with long COVID symptoms, with brain issues, heart issues, kidney issues, liver issues, memory, brain fog, all of these things that I think we haven't, we as a community, as leaders, haven't spoken much of it. I think, and I don't know if you agree or disagree with what I'm about to say, but and I know the villagers have heard me say this so many times, and I'm going to continue to say it, is that the messaging that has been sent from our state is exactly what I think is dangerous, because they have minimized, for the last 6, 8 months, I guess, they have minimized the danger of this virus. Even today, I was watching the news tonight, and the spokesperson for the Department of Health, the former newscaster, was saying we find BA4 and BA5 now in Hawaii. Well, we knew it was here. Once it shows up in another country, we can count on the fact that it will be here in a matter of weeks. So we knew it was here. It was just a matter of time for them to track them.
Mm.
But even
And
with
this,
BA4 and BA5, the spokesperson is saying, even though it's more transmissible, it's still not as, I don't, you as a person that had a bad episode or a bad COVID infection, how do you feel when people in leadership roles, or these types of people that are supposed to be guiding the state? How do you feel when they come out and say, it's like the cold, or it's like a flu, or uh, even
uh,
some are saying that have come out of COVID already. I just saw that on Josh Green's commercial. I'm so proud of how we came out of COVID. We're not out of COVID. We are not out of COVID.
you know,
Cases are rising.
yeah. So here it is. Until you're in that situation, until you're actually in it, then you're not going to know. So you can say all the crap you like until you up shit creek with no paddle and you by yourself coughing on the floor of your house by yourself, you're not going to know crap. So you can say all the bullshit you like. Oh, this is this, this is that. I've heard people say, oh, my symptoms were so light. Well, good. Now, my story is not about Maka'u. about making people scared. No, it's about maka'ala, being alert. Do what you can to prevent this from happening. I did for 2 years. And the truth is, and I said it earlier, the week I took off my mask to the day, 7 days later, there I was. SARS COVID. It was
Yeah.
pitiful. It was pitiful. But until you're there, until you had those symptoms, not the light one, not the Delta, not the Omicron, no, until you had the real McCoy, shut the hell up. You don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and then we cannot forget the people that are in hospitals on ventilators, intensive care, and of course those that never made it. This death, and I know a few people that never made it. Those final days are miserable, are horrific.
Yeah,
Um, it's what you had, except the lungs shut down, the kidneys
yeah,
shut down, and you die. And that's what I think bothers me the most. You know, some people survive cancer, and
yeah,
every day, every year, we get more people survive thanks to the developments in technology. But the fact that a lot of people survive cancer doesn't make cancer a freaking non-violent disease.
yeah,
That's what pisses me off.
absolutely.
I mean, get people get cancer, and they're very lucky, and they go through a treatment or two, and they get into remission, and they're fine. But
Yeah,
it doesn't make cancer any less deadly,
yeah,
because you have a segment of the community that actually survived it. And that's
yeah,
what upsets me the most about COVID, because everyone is so anxious to reopen the state so that we can have all the money back and we can have all the tourists back. And they're forgetting about people like you, people like my stepmom who never made it, people like all of my friends that passed away, and all of our villagers that have suffered from COVID. They're not thinking about those people, and I think that's where I get really, really. That's not Pono. That's not the Hawaii way. You posted
yeah.
today. If Hawaii has aloha, what
Right.
does America have? I mean,
You have
absolutely.
to you have to go read it, right? Because that I woke up this morning and I thought about, yeah, what we have unique in Hawaii. Of course, community. We have ohana. We have so many unique things in Hawaii that makes Hawaii the unique place that it is. But I pose the question, if Hawaii has, because when you talk about Hawaii, everybody going to talk about aloha. Aloha, everybody going to say aloha, aloha, variations of the word, right? So the question was, if Hawaii has aloha, what does America have? I'm not going to say nothing. You got to go look at it. What people reflected back. I mean, amazing what people said. Amazing what people
If
said.
if if you don't follow Kumu, and I'm not going to remember, what is your Facebook page name? It's Lehua, right?
Lehua,
Lehua.
Lehua Kawaikapu Okalani.
There we go.
I will
Lehua
share with
Kavai.
you, and maybe you can share them on your page. But it was
Yeah,
it was it
I'm
was
going to
a
share.
good question.
I loved it, and I love the responses. I mean, it started off really, really, and then it got into the guns and the thing.
Yeah,
But I think and I posted, actually. I posted a response to that, and I said, and I know, because I've been in government, I've been in politics for a long time, and it seems like everyone in Hawaii wants to go run to the mainland to find out what they can bring back to Hawaii to make it like that area. We have a lot of people that move here from the mainland, right? They leave Portland, Oregon, or they leave Seattle, Washington, or they leave San Diego, or Dallas, or Houston, or Austin, wherever they come here on a vacation. They love it so much because of the beauty, the mountains, and the ocean, and the temperature, and the people. And then they're here for a few months, and then they realize, I miss something about that place. So now they try to promote this action that's going to change our place so it could be like their place. And that,
exactly,
that irritates me, Kumo,
exactly.
so much. Like, and then we have our leaders who go on conferences, or they go on whatever junkets, and then they talk to some snake oil salesman up in someplace on the mainland and said, hey, you guys should do this. And they come back, and then all of a sudden we want to be like Portland, or we want to be like Houston, want to be like
Hey,
Missouri.
I walked into Honolulu Airport the first time since COVID started. I swear I was in Sacramento. What part of Hawaii in the future is going to be Hawaii? And we can blame everybody that we like, but the foundation got to be us.
Mm-hmm.
Changes got to be made. Changes got to come from us. We
There we
no
go.
longer can rely on government to take responsibility for what is right in Hawaii. What we've seen during COVID is all the corruption that has been going on in government for a long time. And I'm sure there's going to be much, much more. It's going to take community, the strength of the people of Hawaii, not the newbies, the people that have been here 20, 30, 40, 50, 68 years myself, never left Hawaii, that are ingrained in this akua, ingrained in this aina, and ingrained in our people. Like you said earlier, you can come over here because, oh, this is paradise. But the minute you put up that fence around your house, your paradise extends to those four corners and everybody else stay out. This is not the mentality of Hawaii and Hawaii's people, where we take pride in what we can contribute to our communities, not what we can take from our communities, but what we can put into our communities. We take pride in our contributions. The strength of Hawaii and Hawaii's future is going to be that kind of thought to sustain the natural resources for the people and the future of Hawaii. But as people come with the attitude to take, soon enough, things begin to deplete. And when things deplete, nothing's left, they'll run to destroy the next place.
Yeah.
And that is the situation we're in today. Because there's nobody that's going to reach out there to help us. We have to organize as people in communities to take the responsibility to watch our communities, to watch our natural resources, to stand up against tyranny of corruption that continues to perpetuate in Hawaii. And they start very, very small, that you don't even know what they're doing. And eventually, when they got everything, it's too late.
Yep.
Corruption with land, and the list goes on and on and on and on. This is sad for Hawaii and sad for the Kupuna, who all of their lives have invested time and effort into building Hawaii. You see, I don't want to against anybody, but if you came over here last year and you bought one place and you call yourself a member of my community, excuse me, you need to earn that. I'll give you 20 years, then stand up and talk about me and my community. Because in front of you, get a line of people that have been here 20, 30, 40, 50 years, Kupuna, whose blood, sweat, and tears went into building Hawaii. Now, not you, take your okole at the end of the line, and you wait. You learn to have patience in Hawaii, not entitlement, patience. And you wait your okole until these people have an opportunity to speak and be heard and guide the process for the future of Hawaii. Listen, you go to school, and we know what happens at school, right? We go to school, you get an education. You're raised by Kupuna, you get enlightenment. But see, even our old people, when see themselves through the eyes of the colonizer, you see, because if the colonizer do this, I like to do that too. If the colonizer buy this, I like to. Everything that does, suddenly the colonized sees themselves through the colonizer's eyes, until eventually the colonized become the colonizers of the next group of people. What the
You
hell
know,
is that?
I was talking to a good friend of mine, Pono Asano, and he's from Molokai and born and raised over there, a local boy. I was in the military with him, and we chat once a month. We chat, but anyway, about a month or so ago, we were talking on the phone, and we were talking about affordable housing. We were talking about the issues, and we was on this subject, and he said, Brother Mel, how can these Kupuna who had sold these lands, they had put, like you said, they put their blood, sweat, and tears for 60, 70, 80 years,
Yeah,
and they get nothing to show for it. And all they are watching now, after sowing into this land for almost a century, they're watching the lands, they're watching the culture get erased. He said, "No, I got
yeah,
a hard time with that. This brother is part Hawaiian. I think he's half
yeah,
Hawaiian,
yeah,
and because that gives you a visual of a person, a kupuna, in the fields,
yeah,
doing what they gotta do for 80
yeah,
years, and as they're toiling the soil, and they're in their older later stages in life, and they're watching all their efforts go down the toilet for the next generation.
yeah.
And it struck me when he said that, because I could actually visualize that, and it's just not right. It's not
You
right,
know,
man.
I have my mom who lives here. Mom is 91. You know what we get? We get aloha. That's all we get. We get aloha. Mom has been on the homestead list all her life. I've been on the homestead list. My mom at 9 still manages the Police Activity League sports in Kaneohe. My mom taught us this. You see, we had a role model, taught us how important it is to give back to the community. My mom started to do this for our community at age 45. Never got paid for it. There are thousands of children in Kaneohe who know my mom as Auntie Alice because my mom given freely all of her life to the children of this community. Till today at 91 has still not stopped doing what she does. We will learn this from our mom. So we come the next generation. I'm going to have one generation below me of community activists who understand that our future depends on not what we're going to grab and take from our community, but what we all put into our community. Because of mom, I'm doing the same things in the community, and I'm not going to stop. This is our lifelong focus and to be aloha for our communities and our people, to show them a better way, to role model a better way. And again, we're not entitled. I tell you, if we was entitled, we wouldn't be doing the work we're doing today. We work for our people, we work for our families, we work for our team. And this is going to be sustainability for the future of Hawaii. The strength going to come from our akua, the strength going to come from our aina, the strength going to come from our people. If they don't like participate, don't lose your breath because they don't like participate because they're selfish. That's their choice. But we cannot be selfish like them because they are. We got to maintain who we are. First and foremost and forever. We are the people of Hawaii. We are the nation of Hawaii. We are the people of aloha. We take care of one another. Said, I had that role modeling. Hopefully, all these people will have the same role modeling to become active participants in honor and respect and care for their communities, as well as the natural resources. If not, whatever happens at the end, that was our fault. That was our fault.
Yeah, and we have that obligation really. I'm so thankful, and I thank my mom and my dad. My mom's no longer here, but my dad is here. He's actually watching. But that's how we were raised, and my grandparents on both sides. They were all people that were very active in the community, and not politically, but just active in the community. But their biggest gift to, I think, all of us was that we should help each other. That was always on the lesson plan for us, from grandmas, grandpas, mom, dad, everybody. And
I think
and
back
I'm
then it
so
was uniquely
thankful.
different. I'm sorry. I think back then it was uniquely different because people valued the land, not the
Yeah.
land as a commodity or an investment to buy and sell, but land as a means of subsistence. That was different. You see, so the Japanese immigrants, the Korean immigrants, the Filipino, the Hawaiian people all got along because, again, everybody came from a culture or a people that were connected to the land. And in the countries that they still come from, they are still connected to the land. So it makes the transition for all of us together as local people an easy one because we are land based and we are family based. We're also ancestor based. So all of this combined makes for what we call today the local community. And the local community continues to continues to share, continues to be a part of what we know as our local culture. Because you got to remember now, if we see ourselves as colonizer, because they're still here, yeah, and if we see ourselves to what they continue to do, then we continue to become them. We lose more and more of who we are, which allows us to become what we desire, which is to be like them. So if they see land as investment, we gonna see land as investment. If we see entitlement, then we like the same. If we see them value money, then we like value money. It's kind of a monkey see, monkey do situation. But as long as we continue to see our self worth through the things that have worth through them, then again, we destroy that. We have to stand our ground on who we are as a people. We're unique. We have many things to offer the world. Stand behind the family. That will be the strength. The family, the land, and you know what? We're going to withstand all this crap that's going on right now. We gotta do it together as a people. We gotta do it.
How do we? Because with every generation, it gets harder and harder. And I think for the reasons you just explained about how the monkey see, monkey do, right? Now everybody like be like that person, especially the younger generation. Um, I mean, at some point we got to try to get them back in the corral and try to, instill. I'm afraid that as the generations go by, we're gonna lose this special part of Hawaii. This aloha, this the willingness to to be there for the community. I'm worried that you know 20, 30, 40 years from now we'll all be long gone. But what is Hawaii going to be like if we don't start to understand what we're losing, if we don't start to try to correct the problems that we created, really, we as a community, we as a society.
I think we have misplaced our values in so many different ways. What should have been first and foremost is the value of Kupuna. The Kupuna are the representatives of the Akua, the Kupuna are the representatives of the land, and the Kupuna are the representative people, the elders. For some reason, the Kupuas here, our own people, our own traditions and our own culture, and flip, and they would put all the Opio here. And they would take Kupuna from their rightful place as the leaders and put them down at the bottom of the list, when we know traditionally the Kupuna is the closest thing to the Aumakua. The Kupuna is the closest thing to the Akua. The Kupuna always has the first and final say. The Kupuna leads the Ho'oponopono. The Kupuna lead Pule. The Kupuna does all of this. Now have disqualified the Kupuna, their roles and responsibilities in our own pono, in our own culture, and we flip-flop that, and everybody's idea is, oh, let the young people do them. They get the PhD. You have a PhD, congratulations, but that's for a focus, yeah, a particular culture. Because remember now, you got to remember this now. Send all our kids to college so they get the good jobs in Hawaii. That's so bullshit crap. Because every time there's a good paying position, the state of Hawaii hires outside of Hawaii. What the hell is that? That's false. Oh, go college, get a good position. Let's all the hotels in Waikiki, how many of them? How many of them have no managers that are from Hawaii? Let's look at the police department. The list goes on and on. Where do they hire these people from? But I thought we're sending our kids to college to get these jobs. Well, they're all in college, but they took the Kupuna's job. No, that's not your job. The jobs that the state and the city and county giving away to these people, that's the jobs you guys all should have got. Makes sense?
So true. So true. So true.
You know, no different from Mauna Kea. They're going to provide all these jobs in Mauna Kea. Not going to be, you know, this is so fake. This is so, you keep saying that. I'm so tired of that being pushed down my throat. Oh, you know, our kids have to move off island to get good jobs. Our kids have to go mainland schools to get good jobs. Our kids have to, you guys need to stop hiring people from outside and hire our kids so our kids can stay home. Let's be honest about this bull crap.
You know, I can almost feel the head nods from our viewers right now, because I think you bring up things that we all think about, or maybe not think about, and then you make us realize that it's so true. But that's right on target, and I don't understand that. I really don't understand that. But again, right, going back to how they do it on the mainland, right? See, let me just say this, and I told this to my kids that, you know, in Hawaii, you born and raised in Hawaii, you almost have like and there's probably a Hawaiian saying for this, but we're rooted here. You know, our families are here. We somehow feel a connection. We're raised that way, that we are connected to this place. So for us to pick up and move away and disconnect yourself from all your family and friends is very difficult. Very difficult. And that is why up until recently, where it's because the cost of living is just prohibitive, most people would stay here and they would struggle here because they had this connection to this place. On the mainland, that's not the case. It's not the case. You notice on the mainland, you meet people from the mainland, and this is no disrespect. This is my observations that, oh yeah, I'm from Texas, but I've lived in Arkansas, I lived in Oklahoma, I've lived in Washington, and now I'm living in Iowa or whatever. They move because they don't have that kind of connection to the place that we have here. That's what makes this state special. This place, this place that we live. So why aren't we accommodating the local kids here that and pushing them off? My biggest disappointment. I'm happy for my two kids because they're very successful. They're doing extremely well in Oregon, but they're Oregonians. Their kids, whenever they get kids, will be Oregonians. And they're going to grow up in that environment. They're not going to um, experience what we all had the blessing to experience here in Hawaii, and that hurts my heart.
Well, there are many, many reasons, but part of the reason we have to take blame. First and foremost, teaching our children not to sell the land that grandma and grandpa would work all their life for, to take care of that land, to nurture that land, to honor that land, because that is your connection, that is your extension. You are connected to Hawaii from the piko, from the umbilical cord. You born parents, you connected to your great grandparents. And these are the people that were ingrained, that made it possible for all of us to have a little place here in Hawaii. But the teaching never stopped there. You see, we failed when Memorial Day, remember now, Memorial Day, watch the thousands of people that go graveyard and put flowers. You can see all adults where children can be that need to know that this is grandma and this is grandpa, and they will suffer all their lives to give you that beautiful house you live in. Remember that. Remember, in Hawaii, a thing called Ancestor Worship. The Chinese have it, the Japanese have it, we all have it, where we have the spiritual connection to family. But see, if we don't continually take our children to give honor and respect to dead ancestors, then we're a part disconnecting them to the tradition that should bind them to this land and the responsibility to this land. Really, really no different than the fantasy of Ali'i. Yes, Queen Liliuokalani was the last queen of Hawaii. Yes, she is the queen of the nation. Yes, but I don't know her. She never put food in my mouth. She never put clothes on my back. She never put a roof over my head. My grandparents did that. The ali'i I know is grandma, Iva Vahiniali Rowan Kanae, and grandpa from Kaali Oliloa Kanae. That's the ali'i I know. But through my respect and honor for them and my loyalty, learn to understand the role of Liliuokalani in my life. If you're teaching your kids that, but you're not teaching them respect and honor for Akua, Kupuna Kuakahi, and on through the Aumakua, then we're the ones that haven't fulfilled our roles and our responsibilities in the proper teach to maintain in perpetuity the connections of family. That's our kuleana. Education, enlightenment.
Hey, Kumar, I got one personal question. I hope you don't mind. Yeah, hydrate,
Yes.
hydrate, hydrate.
Yeah.
You ever considered running for office?
Yes.
That is a dead ass serious question, my friend.
They have asked me, but as an educator, I still have some time to think. As an educator, I think I can better serve, and it goes back to the role modeling from my grandparents, to my parents, and then to us. I think as an educator, I can serve the community better. As an educator, I can probably reach out to more people in more beneficial ways. I think being a politician, that's okay. The door is always open. I'm still young. I get plenty fight in me. I always said I'm going to live to 105. So I get plenty life in me, but I am a observer and I watch. I is very keen, a very close attention, and I listen. Not one that going drama. I'll get down to the root and the foundation to know and understand how the growth going to continue. If the growth can. See, everything got to grow. How the thing can grow. You see, that concern, like with the children that come into my classes, yeah, I like inspire them to be good thinkers, to use common sense, and not follow trends and not follow fads, because then you back to monkey do. I would like to teach them as much as I can to help them understand their place, their role, responsibility for the future of Hawaii. If I could, I could go. I wish I could go to school.
You can still teach, and you can still be in the legislature. This is. I tell you, man. You know, I'm listening to you speak. I'm listening to you. That last discussion we had about taking the kids to the graveyard, about the spiritual connection with the Kupuna. I'm listening to you, and I'm visualizing you saying that on the House or Senate floor in front of all of these politicians who have basically sold out and have followed the money. And they have decided that what's more important is not so much the quality of life and the culture of this place, but satisfy the political obligations. But I can visualize you saying exactly what you just said to all of those people and watching them continue on that path of destruction and not take what you said seriously. I think what you just said would move people and actually make them change their mind and change the decision. They would have to. I would think that most of them still have some of that left that they would appreciate and relate to what you said. And that's the only reason I asked that question, because I actually did. I could see you speaking at on the floor of the House or Senate, thinking, "Wow,
Oh, we cannot forfeit. We cannot forfeit in any which way or manner the foundation for the sake of a fad. No. Tradition is what this whole place was founded on. The many traditions of this place, the good traditions, that is the strength of who we are. Aloha, one of them. Mama, another. Honor and respect. Ohana, family. Pilina, connection. Without all of these things, we're not going to be in the world. We have to stay unique. We have to be unique. We have to perpetuate uniqueness. And like I said, if we saw where classes off about them not participating, we're not going to get nothing done. Do it. Because it belongs to you. You are ingrained in this aina. Kupuna built Hawaii. Take a stand. Do what is right. Akua the aina and the people. Eventually, they'll catch up. But we're not going to worry for them. We gotta move on. We gotta forge ahead and create a for everybody. What's happening now? Corruption, greed, entitlement, bullshit.
I'm just reading.
I'm going to end with this one thing.
No, you cannot end yet. But
If yeah, wait, my my thought is I always told people this. People me, if I should run one day, I will run and work from my heart. I do not want to get paid. I already paid. Uncle Sam pays me. It's called Social Security. I work full time. I collect Social Security. I don't need any more money. What I like to do is be able to help Haiti and the people. So I'm gonna run. I'm gonna run salary. I don't need that. I like living in my rabbit house over here. I'm okay. God will bless me. My kitchen is 4x4. I'm okay. What I like do is help the future of Hawaii for today and for tomorrow. That's gonna have to come from the heart. If money guides that, it'll never get done. It has to come from the heart and the heart only to show the
I
world
go.
how much aloha the people of Hawaii get.
I'm gonna be a campaign manager, and I already get a couple of your commercials made. I just gonna edit this video, and we could use this as the commercial. Boy, I tell you, a part of me is joking, but a bigger part of me is serious because I question, on Kauai, the the expansion plan for our airport. This, I don't know if you saw this, and I don't know if many of our viewers here on Kauai know this, but the state wants to expand and upgrade our airport on Kauai. Okay. So they hired this consulting firm. They come here, they do their thing. Well, they came out with their draft study or the draft report, and now they're asking for public input. Now, if you live on Kauai, you know that we do not have enough infrastructure for the people that we have. You know that the traffic is bad. You know that the bathrooms and the parks, and we cannot even maintain what we have. But here comes the state, and the state is saying, "No, we're gonna upgrade your airport." So right now, I think look at it, less than 1 million passengers a year comes into Kauai. 895. Let's just say 1 million people, okay? Because that's what it's probably going to be very shortly. They are planning to upgrade the airport on Kauai to accommodate 4.5 million annual visitors to our island. Now, that's not possible. We That's something that we cannot accommodate. Now, you would think that our state leaders, the Department of Transportation, Airports Division, whoever, would stand up and we'd hear the noise already. You would think that somebody in some authority would be standing up and saying, "What the hell is wrong with you guys? Your state highways are inept. Your state highways are actually pretty dangerous. When you guys clean the side of the road, you back up traffic for hours. We don't have the infrastructure." But what I'm saying is this is the plan. Now, remember HTA was saying, "Oh, we're changing our whole course. We're in tourist management now. We're not in tourist promotion." I'll take your words. Bullshit. They are promoting this
That's right.
state. You know, I laugh. It's not funny, but I chuckled tonight when I heard that Hawaii is now has the highest number of COVID cases per capita or per 100,000 in the country. And some politicians are out there bragging that under their leadership we had the lowest. Well, today we're the highest, and everybody quiet, right? Nobody talking, nobody saying anything. Everybody say, "Hey, go on, do your own thing. We don't need to do mandates. We don't need to do nothing. Just let it rip through." My point is, where is the leadership? Whether it's COVID, whether it's transportation, whether it's tourism, whether it's highways, whether it's culture. Kumu, I mean, we need like 1 million more people like you to be out spreading the word, almost like a mission, almost like a movement. Um,
I
because
think what you really need is one good person who is going to work from the foundation of heart, because they're ingrained in this land. They love Hawaii. They love the people. They love the future of Hawaii. I think you need that one good person, and then you need a lot of people to support that person. Now, you talked about the airport. So they hired a company from where?
Not sure where it's from. I would have to go look them up.
But not from here.
It could be. I don't know. I mean, I guess I could look it up, but
Well, you see,
I
that
it,
thing. When you get people that love Hawaii, they're going to work with that love for Hawaii. But when you have people, money motivates them, the dollar bill motivates them, and greed motivates them, they're not concerned with Hawaii and its people. Yet, the foundation of Hawaii has always been its people. And that they are so haughty that they could forget the people that are the foundation of Hawaii and just do what they like. You see, because they're working without aloha. And I don't care how much they use the word aloha. Your action going to show me exactly what you work for.
yeah, I think, and I think we can all agree that a lot of the decisions that have been made in the last many years has been done without that connection to culture, connection to Kupuna, connection to Akua. I mean, it's really coming down to about the money. We're trying, like I talked about, Charlie and I talked about Monday night or Wednesday night, that this is Kauai, and in fact, many of our islands. Honolulu is kind of big city already. Oahu is like a big city, but Kauai for me, it's a lot of people's Disneyland. Their natural Disneyland. It's a it's an amusement park for people, and that is what I don't really enjoy and I don't appreciate. I just looked it up. It said the report was done by the State Department of Transportation, but I will go find out who was the consultant.
I guarantee you.
I was just going to say, I would bet, yeah, it's probably not a local consulting firm.
Absolutely not. Remember what I said earlier. The state of Hawaii, under its bullshit schemes, continually hire outside of the state, forcing the people from Hawaii to jobs elsewhere. They are not a nurturing state to the people of Hawaii. They are actually an abusive state to the people of Hawaii, and they're committed to building this great state of Hawaii. You see?
Yeah.
They no longer nurture the people here. We're pawned in this greed, this game of greed. Listen, the couple system regulated harmony and balance of all systems. Of course, back then they saw no value in it. The Lahui saw value in it, and they're still valuing it today, because how else are we going to be able to maintain the balance between the natural resources, mainly water, because you can build all the goddamn houses you like. Where the water coming from? Eventually, everybody's going to have 10 drips out of the pipe a day? Because there was no management of the natural ecosystems. And this is what we're heading. And what's driving that? Assholes. Enough said.
I just saw on the news tonight, they're asking Oahu residents to conserve their water and cut their water usage by 25%. 25%.
How the hell is that going to happen when they're all washing their big, beautiful cars that they just bought, and big, beautiful houses, and their big, beautiful driveways for $1.5 million? You think they're going to be the ones doing that? Ah, crap.
I don't like get you worked up, man. You're still on the road to recovery. I want to make sure you get well. And
thank you.
Hey, man, we're at the top of the hour. A few minutes away. I want to ask you to close us out.
It's always a pleasure.
If you can just close us out with some thoughts for our viewers, some whatever you want to say, my friend.
Our Kupuna were very clear when they said this. that we going to do this with aloha. I continue to say this because o ke aloha ka mea iho ola ai. Love going to perpetuate life. Now, we have to work together as communities, as families, with aloha, with malama, with pilina. We have to do this. If you think going to be our government and our government officials, we have within our hands the power, authority of the akua, the aina, and the kupuna. We have to move forward and be that light that everyone through these with aloha. And trust me, we can. Truth and aloha.
Wow, man, what an enlightening hour. It's always a pleasure, Kumu. Glad you could make it tonight. I hope you get well soon. I hope you get back to full recovery. Uh, we'll be praying. Our village will be praying for you guys. For you, villages. Just before you put your head down tonight, say an extra little prayer for Kumu, so we can get him back in top shape. Um, for the villagers,
Thank you.
yeah, thank you for joining us tonight. Enjoy the weekend. Memorial Day is on Monday. It's a special time for a lot of people, and make sure you do what you got to do. But don't forget those that have given the ultimate sacrifice, our veterans and our people serving today. Memorial Day is to remember those that have fallen. And there's a lot of those, especially here in Hawaii. A lot of families connected to fallen troops. So make sure you do what you got to do. Stop by the cemetery, say a prayer at the least for all of the fallen ones and their families. We won't have a show Monday night, obviously, because we want to honor Memorial Day, but we will be back on Wednesday night. And we hope you guys will join us. So with that, Kumu, thank you. God bless. Stay safe.